For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. A coalition of France's left and center-left parties won a majority of parliamentary seats, delivering a defeating blow to the far right that was projected to win weekend elections. Thousands rallied to celebrate in the streets of Paris and other cities with fireworks and chants Sunday. The National Popular Front coalition won 182 seats. President Emmanuel Macron's centrist party won 168, with a far-right National Rally in third place, receiving 143 seats. The left coalition failed to garner enough votes to win an outright majority. It's asked President Emmanuel Macron and the Prime Minister to resign. Macron is keeping the two in power for now. If the left and center cannot reach alliance, the nation faces a political gridlock, which would be unprecedented. Jean-Luc Mélenchon, head of France's unbowed leftist party, hailed their win.
Un magnifique élan de mobilisation civique s'est affirmé.
He said a magnificent surge of civic mobilization has taken hold. Our people have clearly rejected the worst-case scenario. Tonight, the National Rally Party is far from having the absolute majority commentators were predicting. The coalition, which also includes Greens, has pledged to raise the minimum wage and roll back unpopular pension reforms by Macron that increase the age of retirement. President of France unbowed in Parliament, Mathilde Panot, told media they will recognize Palestine as a state in the coming weeks. A reformist candidate won Iran's runoff presidential election Saturday. The AP's Charles de Ledesma reports.
Iran reformist Masoud Pezeshkian, a heart surgeon and lawmaker, beat hardliner Saeed Jalili by promising to reach out to the West and ease enforcement on the country's mandatory headscarf rules. People in Iran's capital Tehran share their reactions to the news. Taxi driver Mohammed Sharif Najad tells the AP everyone is a bit more glad, adding Pezeshkian should ease the economic pressure in the country. I just want a normal life, but I can't make ends meet. I'm always in debt. While local resident Mahmoud Mohammadi says to lift the sanctions, Pezeshkian should first reach an agreement with world powers and see what their demands and our demands are. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
President Joe Biden tried to defend his record over the weekend and today with radio and TV interviews to show the nation of his cognitive ability after an abysmal debate with Donald Trump last month. Still, Biden used teleprompter during his ABC appearance and asked certain questions on two radio stations that were scripted by his campaign. House Republicans are now calling for a hearing on Biden's cognitive decline and who, if any, has tried to withhold information from the public about it. In a letter sent to congressional Democrats today, Biden rejected any calls to step down and said if anyone wants to challenge him, they could do so at the Democratic National Convention next month in Chicago. Meanwhile, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump is distancing himself from Project 2025, which has been coined a blueprint for autocracy. Trump wrote on social media Friday he has no idea who's behind it and called parts of it absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. But reporting from The Intercept finds several Trump administration former officials are behind Project 2025, like Peter Navarro, Trump's 2016 campaign advisor and former director of the Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy. He was sentenced to prison for refusing to cooperate with a congressional inquiry into the January 6th insurrection. Navarro is among a host of Trump officials who wrote portions of Project 2025. Catherine Carley reports.
We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Kevin Roberts, president of the right-wing Heritage Foundation, defends Project 2025, a roadmap for a second Trump term Roberts helped write. That plan calls for national abortion and contraception bans, an expansion of presidential powers, cuts to Social Security and Medicare, profoundly limiting the FBI, and firing any federal employee not loyal to Trump. Trump is denying knowledge despite some top advisors working on it. Florida Senator Marco Rubio, a potential VP pick, distanced the campaign from Project 2025, calling it just the work of a think tank.
They come up with ideas, they say things. I like Heritage Foundation. I agree with some of the things they stand for, but there's a bunch of scholars and people that turn around and work on different projects. But our candidate for president is Donald Trump.
The Biden campaign says it's evidence that Trump and his allies are a threat to democracy. I'm Catherine Carley for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
Officials in Ukraine say Russian missile attacks killed at least 31 people and injured 154 across the country. One missile struck a large children's hospital in the Ukrainian capital Kiev, killing at least 7. Talks on a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip are expected to resume this week. Several officials say Hamas has softened its demands after 9 months of war. Hamas has appeared to drop its long-standing demand Israel promised to end the war as part of any ceasefire deal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office says Israeli negotiators will resume talks this week with Hamas. Israeli forces have deepened an operation in Gaza Strip's largest city, Gaza City, forcing thousands of Palestinians to flee the area that was ravaged in the early weeks of the 9-month-long war. The military says it's meant to weed out militants. I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.